So we will continue with our discussion on speed, distance, time. Okay, so this is the set 2 of our speed, distance, time discussion. So in the previous chapter or in the previous video, we have completed up to average speed concept, right? So average speed is nothing but total distance by total time taken. Okay, and this is the normal thing that you need to remember, but we have discussed two special cases where you will get time as constant, okay, and you may get speeds, okay, so you can get 2 speeds, 3 speeds, 4 speeds, okay, but the time remains same in all those cases. In that case, you just need to take the simple average. If 4 speeds are there, add everything, divide by 4. 2 speeds, add them, divide by 2. Okay, then the second case that we have discussed is the distance is constant. Okay, like the first half you will travel in one particular speed, second half you will travel in the other speed, or one way you will travel in one speed and return you will travel in the other speed. Or if you divide the entire distance into 3 parts, 1/3 in one speed, next 1/3 in another speed, next 1/3 in another speed, like that. Okay, in those cases you need to find harmonic mean of the speeds. First case, simple average, or I can tell you arithmetic mean of the speeds. Okay, so this is what we have discussed with respect to average speed. Now I give you one more idea for solving this kinds of questions. Okay, so this kinds of questions by using the techniques that we have learned in allegation. So since this is related to average, we have discussed about average, weighted average, allegation concepts, if you remember. Okay, so it was like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, this, it's like weights of 2 boys. Okay, so weight or something like this is given. So 2 boys weight is 50. Okay, or 2 boys having weight 50, and this is 3 girls having weight 40. Okay, so what is the average or the total average? See, if I simply ask you, I cannot ask you the average of boys here, because 2 boys, I'm telling you, both are equal, right? So here you need to find the weighted average. How will you find that? 2 into 50 plus 3 into 40 divided by 5. So total divided by number of people are involved. So here you will get 100 plus 120, that is 220 divided by 5. Okay, so you'll get around 44. So 44. Now from this, what you need to know is, see, if this 1, 2, 4, 5 is given, if 1, 2, 4, 5 is given and you're asked to find 3, that means this question is weighted average question. This question is weighted average question. Okay, now why it is becoming weighted average is basically because these numbers are different. Now here, instead of 3, if this was 2, this is 2, this was also 2, then if I ask you average, you just need to take the simple average only. The reason is, effectively you need to do 50 into 2 plus 40 into 2 to get the total, divide by 4. Okay, so 50 into 2 plus 40 into 2 divided by 2 into 2, that's what 4. So you take 2 out, so 50 plus 40 by 2 into 2, and this is getting cancelled out. So this is what actually I mean by simple average. So this number is 2 and 2, then simple average 3 and 3, simple average 4 and 4, 5 and 5. Basically, if this 4 and 5, if these two are same, you need to find simple average, like we have seen in case of time was constant. Okay, here these two are same, so find the simple average. But these two are different, like in the case which I have given you, 2 and 3, then you need to find weighted average. Okay, but now take this case, I am giving you 1, 2 and 3 like this. This is given as 50, this is given as 40, and this is given as 44, and I'll ask you to find a ratio of boys and girls. Then what you need to do is take this difference. So this is 4, take this difference, this is 6. Okay, so you can see this is 4:6, that means 2:3. But one point that you need to remember here is, whatever you are getting here is not exact value, that's a ratio. So boys and girls, if they are in the ratio 2:3, you will get this 44. It is not necessary that boys are 2 and girls are 3. It should be in that ratio. It can be 200 and 300. It can be 20 and 30. It can be 4 and 6. It can be 8 and 12. Okay, it can be 80 and 120. Anything in this ratio 2:3 will give you this 44. Now you'll get questions like this. The rice, okay, rice which cost 50 rupees and the one rice cost 50 rupee, another rice cost 40 rupee. I need to sell this mixture. Okay, I need to sell a mixture of this, but it should cost 44. It should cost 44. The cost price is 44. Okay, then what should be the ratio in which I should mix both the rice? It should be in 2:3. Or I make a question like this: 20 kilogram of rice cost 50, and I am mixing it with rice which is having cost of 40. Or the question will be 20 kilogram of rice which cost 50 rupees to be mixed with how much kilogram of rice of cost 40, such that the mixture you can sell at the price of 44. So here you can write this is 20 and this is what they're asking. So when you find this ratio, you get 2:3. So 2:3, in that 2 is 20 means 3 is 30. So 30 kilogram of 40 rupee rice is what you need to mix with. So this is what allegation concept. Now let's see how we are going to use this allegation concept in speed distance time questions. Okay, so we were actually discussing about questions related to average speed. So let's take the similar question. So simple question, A to B is what you need to travel. Okay, so you A to B. So A to B you take a speed of S1, and B to A you take a speed of S2. So we know the situation, distance is constant, so we take the harmonic mean, and we know this is 2S1 S2 divided by S1 plus S2, or 2 divided by 1 by S1 plus 1 by S2. You already understood all these concepts. Okay, but now how you are going to apply the concept of allegation here? So let's suppose A to B, I give you the original case. So A to B you are traveling at 60 km per hour, okay, and B to A you are traveling at 120 km per hour. Find the average speed. You can find obviously by using this method. That's a shortcut that we have learned till now, harmonic mean. But how you are going to use allegation here? Okay, see what is given is the speed. Two speeds are given, so you know the speed ratio. Once you know the speed ratio, we also know the time ratio, because speed and time is inversely proportional. So speed ratio and time ratio will be opposite. Okay, so if you know the speed ratio, you can write the opposite, you'll get the time ratio. So here the speed ratio 60 and 120 means 1:2. So time taken will be reverse, so that will be 2:1. If speed is 1 and 2, time will be 2 and 1. Okay, so why? Because here you'll take more time, here you'll take less time. So here you'll take 2 hours, here you'll take 1 hour. That's what I mean by time, if it is in ratio. Okay, so how will you use allegation? 60, that is one speed, 120, that is the other speed. So you got two speeds. Now what you need here is actually the time. So 60 and 120 is the speed, so the speed ratio is 1:2. So when you write the time ratio here, that will be 2:1. Okay, so if you observe here, 1, 2, 4 and 5 is given, and you're asked to find this portion. So when you're asked to find this, what you need to do is you need to find the weighted average. So how will you find the weighted average? 60 into 2 plus 120 into 1 divided by 3. So 60 into 2 plus 120 into 1 divided by 3. So this is 120 plus 122, 40 divided by 3, which means 80. So what is the average speed of this journey? 80. So this is how you can use the concept of allegation to get this answer. Okay, now you may tell that see here the distance is constant, so I have a better method. Okay, obviously I'll agree with you, but I feel this is more better because the applicability is across topic. But why this method is more useful is basically because this formula or method you can use only if the distance given is constant. Here in this case it is applicable, but if I tell you in a case where distance is different, okay, I'll give you one more example. So a car goes 100 kilometer, okay, 100 kilometer at a speed of 66 kilometer per hour. Okay, 66 kilometer per hour or miles per hour or meter per second or whatever it is. Now, next 200 kilometer, okay, you will move at 110 kilometer per hour. Okay, so here if you see 100 kilometers, 66 kilometer per hour, 200 kilometer, 110 kilometer per hour. So here you can see that this distance is not constant. Okay, so here you cannot use the method of 2ab by a plus b, and time is not given, so you cannot take just average also. So here what you need to do, if the time is given to you, okay, see, if the time is given to you, you can do total distance by total time. Now here obviously you can find the time by doing this distance by speed, but 100 by 66 is slightly complex, 200 by 110 is also slightly, see, we have a better method. When you have a better method, there is no need to do all these things. That's the idea. Okay, so what you can do here is, one speed given is 66, the other is 110, right? So if you look at this, this is speeds, right? So what are the speed ratio? This is clear that 6 is to 10, right? Because 11 is common, so 6 and 10. So 6 is to 10 is the ratio. 6 is to 10 means 3 is to 5. So 3 is to 5 is the speed ratio. Then what will be the time ratio? Time ratio is 5 is to 3. So time ratio is 5 is to 3. So this is how you have taken in the previous case. But why you are taking time ratio just like that? Because distance was constant. And in the first lecture itself, I told you when distance is constant, speed and time is inversely proportional. So here distance is not constant, so you can't take just like this. You can't just take like this. Okay, so you understood this much? 5 is to 3. Now, what you need to do to make it as time ratio is basically because since the distance traveled is different, take the distance ratio. What is the distance ratio? 1 is to 2. Okay. Now, what you need to do is multiply this 5 is to 3. Not 3 is to 5. 3 is to 5 is the speed ratio. You have reversed it, you got 5 is to 3. Multiply that with the distance ratio. Okay. So 5 is to 3, you multiply with 1 is to 2. Why? Because that is a distance ratio. So 5 into 1, 5 itself, and 3 into 2, 6. So now you are getting what? Time ratio. That is 5 is to 6. So I hope you understood when distance is different, how will you find the time ratio? Okay, so you got it as 5 is to 6. I tell you the logic. Okay, I am discussing about it in the session itself. So now what you need to do is, if you need to apply allegation, use this 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 you can put here. So 1, 2, 4 and 5 is given. You need to find weighted average. So here, how will you find weighted average? 66 into 5 plus 110 into 6 divided by 5 plus 6, that is 11. Okay, so you get this as 90. So what is the average speed in this case? Slightly complicated case, 90. So what you need to do is, see, very simple. When I'm explaining, I have to explain all those things. Otherwise, when you're solving this question, see, the moment you see this speed ratio, you will write it as 6 is to 10, that means 3 is to 5. So if the distance was same or the distance was constant, we can directly take it as 5 is to 3 as the time ratio. But here, since distance is different, I need to just multiply with the distance ratio also. So what is the distance ratio? 1 is to 2. So to get the effective time ratio, just do this. Okay, so 5 into 1 and 3 into 2, that means 5 is to 6. Once you get this, now it is very simple. 66, 110, 5 and 6. Just take the weighted average, you'll get this average. Otherwise, how will you find the average speed? Total distance by total time. Okay, so total distance is clear, 100 plus 200. That's the distance covered. Time, how will you find? First step is 100 by 66. Okay, so here 100 by 66, you'll get that time, plus 200 by 110. So 200 by 110. So this is the other method. That is the conventional method. But why this method is useful is because you know the logic. Just apply the logic, you'll get the answer faster. Now next, you will get questions like traveling at 4 by 5th of the original speed. Okay, so traveling at 4 by 5th of the original speed, a train was 10 minutes late. A train was 10 minutes late. Find the usual time. Find the usual time. Okay, so original time is what you need to find out. So what is given? Nothing. Whatever I have discussed here is what given. Traveling at 4 by 5th of the speed, you are 10 minutes late. Find the usual time. So traveling at 4 by 5th means, see, the story can be anything. Normally, he used to travel, now met with an accident and traveling at 4 by 5th of the speed, 10 minutes late, etc. But this is a crux. Traveling at 4 by 5th of the speed, you are 10 minutes late, find the usual time. How will you proceed? See, the moment you see this, there is a reduction in speed. And if speed is reduced, time will increase. And that increase is given. What is that? 10-minute increase in time. So this is an increase-decrease story, and we know speed into time is equal to distance similar to AB equal to C, which we have already discussed in many chapters. So this is basically the product constancy rule that we have discussed, right? So here also you can apply the same. One is increasing, other will decrease. So here one is decreased, speed is decreased. How much decrease? Traveling at 4 by 5th means 1 by 5 reduction in speed. Okay, we know this will lead to 1 by 4 increase in time. We know this will lead to 1 by 4 increase in time. Why? Because our understanding is 1 by x decrease will lead to 1 by x minus 1 increase. If 1 by x increase, it will lead to 1 by x plus 1 decrease. So here 1 by 5 is the decrease in speed. So there will be an increase in time by 1 by 4 from the original time. And that original time is what asked. That is not given. So from the original time, 1 by 4 increase will be there. And that 1 by 4 increase from the original time is given as 10 minutes. So the original time you can find like this. So original time is t. 1 by 4 increase or 1 by 4 of original time is given as 10. Now it's very simple, right? What is t? Take this 4 here, 40 minutes. So I hope you got the idea. The original time was 40 minutes. Now you are traveling at 4 by 5th of the speed, or you reduce the speed by 1 by 5. So the time taken is 50 minutes. That means 10-minute increase. So here they can either ask you what is the original speed or original time taken, or they will ask you what is a new time taken. That means 10 minutes late. So that answer will be 50 minutes. So these are two possible questions here. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now next question type that I have seen is, see, you have distance to cover. Okay. Now two scenarios will be given. You are traveling at 4 km per hour. You are 20 minutes late. You are 20 minutes late. You travel at 6 km per hour. You are 10 minutes early. Okay. So traveling at 4 km per hour, 20 minutes late. Traveling at 6 km per hour, 10 minutes early. Now this is a story. With this story, I can ask you 5 questions. Okay, so once you know those 5 questions which can be asked, and these are the only 5 questions which can be asked, then your preparation is complete. There is no point in solving other questions. Okay, so what are the 5 questions? I can ask you, what is the usual time of travel? Okay, so what is the usual time of travel? That means when you are late by 20 minutes, that's what the first case. Usual time means the first case. So what is the first case? In the first case, how much time you will take? Okay, or I can ask you in the second case how much time you will take, or what is the time taken in the second case, or what is the new time of travel. Okay, then I can ask you what is the distance, and then that will be a difficult question. I can ask you what is the distance. That is the third question. The fourth question which I can ask you is how much time she can take for this journey so that he or she will reach the office without being late or early. And the last question is what should be the speed in which she or he can travel so that he will reach the office without being late or early. So 3 questions related to time I can ask you, because time is not given. So first case, how much time he will take. Second case, how much time he will take, 2 questions. Third question related to time is what time he can take so that he will not be late or early. So 3 questions related to time. Then distance is not given, so I can ask you the distance. Then I can ask you 1 question related to speed. What is that? Because these 2 speeds are given. So the third speed means the speed in which you need to travel so that you will reach the office without being late or early. These are 5 questions possible. Let's look at the way you are going to solve. There are many formulas and methods which you will see in the textbook, but the method that we have learned in many chapters earlier, we are going to use exactly the same method because that will make things much more easier. Okay, so here you can see something has increased, so there will be a decrease here. So it's an increase-decrease story. You can use the product constancy rule. So if you see here, what is the increase? 50% increase, 4 to 6. Or absolute change is 2, 4 to 6. 2 is the change on top of 4. You can write it as 1 by 2 increase. Or you will write 50% increase by 100. Then also 1 by 2 increase. And we know 1 by x increase will lead to 1 by x plus 1 decrease. So 1 by 2 increase will lead to 1 by 3 decrease on the other. So the other will decrease by 1 by 3. What is that other? Here the increase is in what? Increase is in speed. So speed is increased by 1 by 2. Time will decrease by 1 by 3. So earlier you are 20 minutes late. Now you are 10 minutes early. So what is the change in time? The time is decreased, but what is the change in time? Is it 20 or is it 10? It's not 20, it's not 10, it's actually 30. The reason is, see, let's suppose you need to reach the office by 10 o'clock. Okay, let's take this situation. You need to reach the office by 10 a.m. In the first situation, you are 20 minutes late. When you are reaching, that means you are reaching at 10:20. You are 20 minutes late. Second situation, you are reaching at 9:50. You are 10 minutes early, right? So 10:20 to 9:50. What is the change in time? 30 minutes. So because of this increase in speed, there is a 30-minute change in time. 30-minute decrease in time. Okay, so 1 by third of the original time. Original time means the first case when you travel at 4 km per hour. When you travel at 4 km per hour, you will take some time. So now that time is reduced to 30 minutes. Okay, so you can find the original time by assuming that this speed is the original speed and that corresponding time is the original time. Okay, so 1 by 3 reduction from the original time because of this increase. So and 1 by 3 of that time is given as 30. So 1 by 3 of time is given as 30. So the time taken is actually 90. So 90 minutes is what you have taken when you travel at 4 km per hour. So you have taken 90 minutes. So with this itself, you actually answered 4 questions. You actually answered 4 questions. Which questions you answered? You found out the original time taken. That means usual time taken. That is at 4 km per hour. First question is answered. Second, how much time you can take to reach the office without being late or early? So how much time you can take? When you take 90 minutes, you are 20 minutes late. So how much time you can take? You can take 70 minutes. Third question you answered here is, what is the distance? See, you know the speed, you know the time. You can find the distance. How? See, the time is 90 minutes when you travel at 4 km per hour. So distance is speed into time. Speed is 4. Time is 90 minutes, so this is kilometers, so I'll convert this into hour. So by 60, that means you'll get 6 kilometers. So you got the distance as 6 kilometers. You got the distance. Now, what is the fourth question you answered? That is a question related to the speed. What speed you can take so that you will reach the office without being late or early? What is speed? Speed is actually distance by time. We know the distance as 6 kilometers. What time you should take? You should take 70 minutes. Why? Because the question is how much speed you need to take or by what speed you need to travel so that you will reach the office without being late or early. So without being late or early means you can take 70 minutes and the distance is 6. So you will get the speed. See, why the speed is asked is because other 2 speeds are given, this speed is what left out. Okay, so we answered 4 questions. What is the 5th question? What is the new time taken? That means when you are traveling at 6 km per hour, what is the new time taken? That is also answered because when you know this is 90, in the new scenario, 30 minutes less. That means 60 minutes. You will take 60 minutes. So I hope all these things are clear. So what we have done is, let me explain again the same concept. See, the story was, when you travel at 4 km per hour, 20 minutes late, 6 km per hour, 10 early. So there is a change in speed. Speed increased, time will decrease. So change in speed is 4 to 6. Time decreases this. 20 minutes late to 10 minutes early. So 30 minute change is there and 30 minute decrease is there. So when speed increase by 1 by 2, we know time will decrease by 1 by 3. And 1 by 3 of the time is given as 30. So time we got as 90. So if the question was, what is the usual time? Then that means you travel at 4 km per hour. You reach by 90 minutes. What is the new time taken? That means 66 km per hour. That is 90 minus 30. So 60 minutes. These 2 questions are answered in a very simple way. Third question, if I ask you the distance, you can use any of these 2 information. This speed and this time you can use to find the distance. This speed and this time also you can find or use to find the distance. So I can use 4 into 90 by 60. You will get 6 km. Or I can use 6 into 60 by 60. Still I get 6 km because the distance is same in both cases. Only changes in the speed and the time also changed. Why this is happening? Because the distance is constant and you can see that the distance is constant here. Now what is the next possible question in this? The time in which you need to travel or the time you can take so that you will not be late or early. That is easy, right? When you take 90 minutes, you are 20 minutes late. So then itself you understood that 70 minutes is what the time you can take. Or when you take 60 minutes, you are 10 minutes early. That means 60 plus 10, that is also 70. In both ways, you'll get the answer. Last question will be the difficult one because you need to find everything to get that answer. The time in which or the speed in which you need to travel so that you will reach the office without being late or early. So the speed is what they're asking. Speed means distance by time. So distance we already got 6 km. Time, which time you will take? It's not 90. 90 corresponding to this speed. It's not 60 because 60 corresponding to this speed. It should be 70. Okay. Then you will not be late or early. So 6 km by 70 minute. Minute means when you convert, this is going to be 60. So you'll get the answer here. Okay, so very simple question. The only step is 1 by 2 increase in speed will lead to 1 by 3 decrease in time. So we got the time as 90. If the question was distance, now itself you got the answer. 4 into 90 by 60, you got the distance. That's it. There is no one is asking you to find this or this 70 or this speed. That's the extreme cases. I hope this discussion is complete and clear for all of you. So very important method. Okay.